Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Akibatum lil Mustaqim wala ruhwana ila ala dalimin. Salatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm starting something live. It's been a while since I've done anything, and this is an important topic after all of the turmoil and still arising there in Jazeera Arab. Everybody understands where I'm talking about in Gaza. I will not touch on the issues of why, who is right, who's wrong. We already know what that answer is as Muslims. I don't need to address that because we have scholars on the ground addressing many issues as we speak. And I don't need to address that. And also some of the ins and outs, I'm not going to discuss that either because I'm talking about the black man, the African Muslim, because nobody seems to care about us. And I've sat here for weeks here, and rightfully so, we should worry about what happens to any of our brothers in Kashmir or India, Pakistan, the Uyghurs in China, wherever, our brothers, the Abu Saif in the Philippines. I mean, wherever we are and we have problems, you should always make dua for our brothers. But there's a funny thing that I've noticed about this issue is nobody's making dua for us. The black man, the African Muslim in particular, is the most universal of all. We like everyone, but everyone doesn't like us. Even with that said, we still give our heart and we give our heartfelt feelings towards people, many times irrespective of their color when we see them in calamity, Muslim or not. And that's just because Subhanahu wa ta'ala made us first. So therefore we have this. But let me give you my felicitations. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh lil ikhwani ikhwati fi din wa salamu ala mani tabahuda lil ikhwani ikhwati fi Africa, Europa, Caribbean, wa America, wa kulli makan. Halin wa salin bikum. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters. So as you heard me talking there, you've seen the marquee that I showed in, for my program. You see a black man, and you see to the right what's happening in Gaza. I tried to do research on this black man. If you look at him, he looks like any black man from LA or from Washington, D.C., or Bed-Stuy in New York, or Harlem, okay, or Miami, Savannah, Georgia, Dallas, Texas, Jackson, Mississippi, St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, you look at it, he looks like African-American. And you know about his story. If you do not know, he was a commander of one of the teams that was responsible for going after the enemy and their tanks. So that's all I can say about that. And he was killed in the process. See, so, but again, brothers and sisters, when you hear me talk today, don't misunderstand what I'm trying to tell you, because that's not what I want you to do. Because it's not reverse racism. Are we talking against our brothers who are Arab or Pakistani? No, that's not the case. But I'm making a point that we as black people have a problem, and we have trials and tribulations called fitna because of things that's happening. And when I see, rightfully so, there's brothers or sisters are being murdered in Jazeera Arab. I mean, it's genocide. We know that. And we should have this feeling. But I asked the question, how many people have this feeling for what's happening in the Sahel and other parts of Africa? The Muslims are being killed every single day. Their numbers tally much higher than what's happening in Jazeera Arab. And for a long period of time. See? So, and we don't get anything from anybody in that regard. How about the African American Muslims inside the United States, or Arab American Muslims, Pakistani American Muslims? In particular, these three groups are catching hell there in the United States. Bank accounts closed. One Muslim advocacy group, these are lawyers. They said United States is a surveillance state. And you know what that means. I'm a victim of that too, because I closed up my account about 5 years ago and took 8,000 US dollars from me on top of that. So we know this issue, but you hear nothing from the world about our plight. In this regard, I regard the Afro-Arab and even our Pakistani brothers as Black people. And so I'm lumping them together because if you many of you do not understand what's happening in Pakistan and the history, and you don't know. I mean, they got a sizable Black population there, and they look no different than you or me. Well, I got problems with my lighting here. I don't know what I see this. Boy, brothers, sisters, I tell you, this is really something. I've been having problems in my place here. I've been here about 1 year now, and I start to have a lot of problems with electricity. So please bear with me for 1 second. Okay, please bear with me. Okay, back with you. All right, let's start. Let me see who's comment here. How you doing, my dear brother? How you doing? Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for your thoughts, my dear brother. Really appreciate it very much, and I do really greatly, immensely appreciate that. I haven't been on a while, brothers and sisters, because of what has happened in Jazeera Arab and stuff like that, and plus there was a death in the family, so there was a lot of things going on. But I wanted to touch on these issues, so I'll start here. In general, the Muslim must take care and strengthen his jihad, because this is the issue here, brothers and sisters, is the jihad. Because all what is happening and what doesn't happen with us is a form of jihad. Within the scope of text of Sharia law and the Sunnah, the temptation to avoid these requirements are many. Many times, because what has happened, especially you see what's happening over there in Jazeera Arab, many times we forget about the requirements of this particular offensive jihad. And we act on our emotions, and we cannot do that. There is no jihad requirement for you to go to Jazeera Arab. That's important, brothers and sisters, because I think there's some have went and traveled there. And there's no requirement for you, because why? There's issues. Again, why would you want to leave the United States at this time when you're going through all kind of hell there? It's a jihad that in a lot of ways is far more difficult, because you're dealing straight with the beast and you're dealing with the kuffar in your face. And you're going to jump on a plane with all of this turmoil around you, police killing you, discrimination. You have the Islamic phobia. You have losing your jobs and bank account and putting on the watch list and so forth and so on. And you're going to leave, go on a plane to go to Jazeera Arab when you have that's not the requirement. Your jihad first is in your backyard. That is required. That's the sunnah. You must clean that up first before you venture off somewhere else. Yes, the issue about Aqsa, we understand that, but this is not at the time now to fight the enemy of Islam. Yes, you're fighting the enemy in Islam. There, you fighting the major beast, because he's the controller of all of the major kufr and disbelief and Islamic phobia in the world is there in the United States. So why are you going to leave to go to Jazeera Arab to fight? It doesn't make sense. You're not required to do that. And subhanahu wa ta'ala even tells you inside, you only do what your means can. And plus, you have to look at other issues. There are fatwas issued recently about the sanctioning of jihad, directed at Muslim leaders. I don't know if you guys know about this. There's about 3 of them that I know. They're well written and said, but they're in Arabic language. And 2 of them deals with the Muslim leaders. You say, why, Yahya? Why is that? Because remember something, brothers and sisters, your requirement is that the Muslim ruler gives the okay for the offensive jihad. Not me, not you, okay? It comes from the Muslim rulers. The fatwas were directed at the Muslim leaders to get them off their butts and to start to do something over there in Jazira Arab. One of the fatwas by, my dear brother, Brashir from Sudan, he made another pitch. He made ijtihad, where you make a ruling, based upon different issues. And he was saying, but he was not clear. He was saying that it was authorized for everyone to come to jump in on this jihad. That's what he said. But he did not clarify. He's talking about the brother in LA. Could he leave LA to come to Jazira Arab to fight the enemy over there right now? It was not clear. And I talked to a few people about this issue. But if he meant that you or me, anybody else can jump over there, I disagree, my dear brother. I don't believe he meant that. I believe he's talking about those there in Jazira Arab. I'm talking about in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Bahrain and Yemen and so forth and so on. I don't believe he was talking about the brothers sitting in Sahel or the brothers sitting in Morocco or the brothers sitting in South Africa. I don't think he meant that, or sitting in there in Bed-Stuy, New York. I don't believe he meant that. But it was ambiguous when he said it. See? And you got to remember something, brothers and sisters. You sitting there in the land of the kuffar, in the United States, in Canada, Europe, or Colombia, or Brazil, or any country that's not an Islamic state, you got particular problems, because you must act upon what the Muslim ruler does and says, or what he doesn't say, or what he doesn't do. You must react to that, because jihad is something. Now, we're not talking about the basic common thing about jihad of dealing with cleaning yourself first. As you heard me talk about jihad before, dealing with the devil and so forth and so on. Those are, prior requirements. But to make an offensive jihad is not easy. And you as a black man, in particular, you have a specific problem, because you're so universal. You are loving of all mankind, and you want to go help your brothers somewhere. We understand that. But you can't, and you should not, because the ramifications. And even if you live in the land of the kuffar, they have laws. You must obey those laws. Yes, they conflict with that of the Sharia, but still, all in all, you're sitting there. We're saying in California, you can't make the jihad, brothers and sisters, because you don't have the authorization to do it. Who's going to give you the fatwa to go there? I err on the side of caution and conservative, because I look at it, and I look at it straight on the line, because it's the best way I look at it to protect myself, my family, and the Muslim Ummah. Because you should go conservatively, because when you go offensive jihad, you got to worry about a lot of things. Because the minute you leave California, don't think that they're not going to discover that. They will. And they'll start to go after your family. You know that. They'll go after the masjid that you went to, because now it gives them a license to go after all the Muslims. There's a lot of ramifications here. But if there's an overall jihad issue, and you made bay'ah, say, to a Muslim ruler, he did do it, that may be a different story. But again, you got to look at something else, brothers and sisters, because we live in it. We just don't have the firepower, so to speak, to take on all these kuffar. We just don't. You see what has happened in Jazira Arab. Who is there to assist our brothers there? Nobody. None of the 57 states have not lifted a finger except talk. So what are you going to do as one man? You leave LA, you can't. You're not going to make a difference. And you're going to put many in trouble because of your actions that you should not be making. So I'm cautioning you, and that's why I'm talking to you today. Because I know some of the young brothers say, you know what, man, I got to go over to Jazira Arab. I need to go there and fight the enemy. No, brother, you need to understand your deen. We understand that, but you need sabr, you need patience, and you should understand offensive jihad. You can't do it unless you have certain authorizations. And me, for one, I'm telling you right now, if I hear anybody talking about go jihad, the first thing I'm gonna want to know is I'm here in Morocco. This is where I live. I want to know, did the king of Morocco give the authorization for it? One. Second, was there a fatwa by the ulama body in Morocco? Did they give it to you? Did they give that? I haven't heard it. If I don't see these two things and hear these two things, I ain't going anywhere. Especially a man my age now. I'm close to near 70. No, my days, is finished. But I'm just trying to get you to understand something, brothers and sisters. Before you run somewhere, you ask the question. You hear what I'm saying today. You ask. Men, you hear this thing about jihad and somebody's talking about going somewhere, you better ask questions. Hey, did the Muslim ruler, did he give the authorization for it? If they say no, you don't go anywhere. And secondly, if it's alleged that he said it, you better get the fatwa because they should be read off so everyone would know it. The ulama will get on TV with the modern technology we have today and read off the fatwa. The king is authorizing us, I'm talking Morocco, to go do certain things, right? I'm giving this example. If I don't hear that, I ain't going anywhere. I'm talking about if I was a young man. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't going anywhere. See? So I'm giving you this advice, and I'm within the Sharia and the Sunnah. I'm not making some ijtihad here. This is what is required. The Amir makes that decision. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, in the long run, you have to look at it this way. If I go out on half-cocked and jump on something without the authorization from the ulama, not the authorization from the Muslim ruler, and I die, do I die as a martyr? I don't think so. But if the Muslim ruler gives his authorization for offensive jihad for brothers to run off to Jazira Arab or to Kashmir or wherever the situation may be, or in India, wherever the case is, or Chechnya, whatever the situation may be, and you die, you're covered, you're martyred, because you're supposed to obey the imam, okay, the leader. You're supposed to obey him. So I just want to get that clear, brothers and sisters, because this is important. Because many of us, I understand, we're all human. We have this in us. Me, even as an old man, I sit back and say, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. But we can't. We are limited, brothers and sisters. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the Quran that you only go by what your means, what you can do. And I'm gonna get more further into this. Let me see. We got some other comments here. Yes, how you doing, my dear brother Eagle? Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa. Yes, we will. We will overcome. We will do this, brother, and this is going to happen, and we will overcome, because the Prophet ﷺ said this. I'll kind of touch on a little bit of that, in a bit, and this is a issue. Again, we have to have faith, brothers and sisters, because I'm going to tell you something now. There will come a time, the Prophet ﷺ told us that it will come a time you won't have to be, it won't be ambiguous about a fatwa and about the jihad. You will be going to it, and you will be authorized at that time to fight this enemy in Jazira Arab, and you'll be fighting two enemies. See, But that time is not yet. The Prophet ﷺ gave us a time that it's not yet. It probably won't come in my lifetime. But even if it did come, and I'm too, I can't do it. I'm too old. I'm not a young man anymore. That's for the young man now to take the reins to do something. But will come a time there will be one leader, and that jihad will be authorized. And the Prophet ﷺ gave us guidance in that, and the name of the person. It's not yet. Okay, it's not yet. So make sure we understand that, brothers and sisters, that it will come. Patience is needed right now. Patience is needed, and you have to have hope that these things is going to happen. So again, these fatwas were not directed to any Muslim outside the Jazira Arab. That's you again, brothers and sisters. Please understand that. Okay, it was not directed for you. One leader of the Muslims fighting. Okay, now I'm gonna get into issue. You heard me talk at the beginning. This kind of turned my head. It's like Arab nationalism. We don't need that right now. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm fighting in the Sahel. And I turn back around and start talking about the Sahel because we want assistance from the Muslims everywhere, right? Regardless. I turn back around and start talking about the brothers only. I want the black man this. I want the black man to do that. I want the black man over here to unite. Okay? That's Pan-Africanism. When this particular leader of the Mujahideen group there in Jazira Arab fighting now made the comment, because he was talking, it was in Arabic. And I said, oh no, brother, don't say that. Because he said the Arabs, the Arabs should unite. But he should have said it in a way that, but it was different. And it sounded like, Pan-Arabism to me. And some others agree with me. And it's like brothers, like they were saying, they don't want us. They don't need us. They don't even consider us. And it's a problem. That's why I'm talking today, because it is a problem. And that's why I said to you again, we jump up and down about the problems of others. And we should, because we're universal. But who jumps up and down for us? You think about that, brothers and sisters. We got all this stuff going on in the Sahel. How many fatwas have been issued over there about what's going on over there? How many round tables of the ulama who are Arabs talking about the Sahel in particular? Because you have Muslims fighting the kuffar. You have Muslims fighting against other Muslims. You have all kinds of stuff going. And the kuffar is determining, he's picking who he wants to determine one is terrorist and one is not, and all that. And the brothers are saying that these are freedom fighters. We have a big mess. Where's the ulama now? See, they disappear. They don't talk in our behalf. See, and so that's a problem. So anytime you hear this type of nationalism, Arab nationalism is wrong in this context. Because the brother doesn't need the African black man. The African Muslim doesn't need to be told, because his heart, he's the first human being. His heart is already filled with humanity, because he has this benevolence, and we're always so forgiving. This is us as black people. Irrespective of Muslim or Christian or Hebrew, irrespective of atheist, we have this type of thing inside of us. We don't have to be told to feel sympathy or have some deep feeling benevolence towards others, even though they differ from us in race. See, but it was a wrong move. And I said before, brothers and sisters, you cannot go there. Most of us, this is the key. This is a parameter, brothers and sisters, that you have to understand. You sitting in the Sahel, you only speak maybe Pular, or maybe another dialect, Sudani Fafudi, say, for instance, but you don't speak Arabic. You sitting in Los Angeles, California, and you talking about you want to make jihad over there to Jazira Arab to fight against the Adu, the enemy. Okay, so but you don't speak Arabic, and you don't understand Hebrew either. See, that's a problem. And many of them don't speak English either. There's some. You have a tough road. And then have you been trained in urban warfare? Because you see what's going on over there now. You got close fighting, nearly hand to hand, but it's very close fighting, and you have to be trained in that. And I'm asking you again, those who talk this say I should go. I'm asking you, what authority? What authority you have? What authority are you using? See? And now I'm giving you guidance towards that. Did you make bay'ah to a Muslim ruler? Did he give you the authorization for the Muslims to make jihad, offensive jihad? See, I'm giving you the guidelines to help you so you don't have these trials and tribulations. Because I understand all of us don't like this, what's going on in Jazeera Arab. All of us don't like it. We see children being massacred and there's genocide. We don't like it. It's only human nature because we're so universals as Black folks. But Muslims, we have guidelines that we must follow. And we need the authority to make offensive jihad. If you don't have the authority, you can't do it. Justifying your actions to go to Jazeera Arab. What are the rulings about the issues like this? I already told you, I give you the basic. The Muslim ruler authorizes this. There's other circumstances too in situations. Now, what's happening in Jazeera Arab? They don't have, quote unquote, a Muslim ruler. And I know also that the Mujahideen group that's fighting now was not ruling under the Sharia either. I'm not going to get into that because our scholars are handling that. And when all this clears and there's a stoppage and the war is stopped, then we can talk about some issues about this. But there's fatwas authorizing them to fight by the ulama. I mean, they gave this, and unfortunately, what matter of fact, I heard the one by the I forgot what they call them, the ijtihad of a Muslim. I forgot the biggest of the ulama body. They gave a beautiful fatwa, beautiful, and they gave you all the proofs, very beautiful, and you can get it online. And I think it's translated in English now. I think that's what I heard, but I'm not sure. But it's beautifully written and with all the proofs, and it's given authorization for them to fight. But it's not giving you the authorization to fight, brother, sitting there in Nigeria, or sitting in Niger or Mali, or you sitting in Morocco, or you sitting in Senegal. It's not giving you the authorization to fight. It's giving those there authorization to fight. Because you heard me say again, they're ulama, they are scholars. They understand that our leader has to give this authorization. You don't have this authorization, you cannot do it. And this is the issue, brothers and sisters. And I'm not making slight of what's happening in Jazeera Arab, but I'm bringing up an issue because we should. When we're listening to, they were on this one station, you should look at it. It's pretty good. If you follow what's going on in Jazeera Arab, it's called Hindustan Times, I think, or Hindustan News. I can't remember. It's in YouTube. They give, because they follow the website. And that's another thing, brothers and sisters. Let me give you recommendations. They have websites of the Mujahideen. You as a Muslim, stay away from that, especially if you're American, because of the draconian laws. They can come after you, claiming that you may be supporting a terrorist group. Oh boy, look at this. Brothers and sisters, you see what's happening here. Excuse me for a minute. I think they're coming in here to play around in my thing here. Boy. Okay. Okay. Get out of this. Yeah, boy, I'm sure how to. Well, I'll do this till I get the thing read off. I mean, my thing switched off because they've done something, and I forgot how to do that now. How to do that? But anyway, uh, I'm getting close to ending. Many imams and scholars talk about us. Excuse me. Let me go back to the element here. They don't talk about our conditions, and the ulama doesn't talk about our conditions in the Sahel or any place in Africa, and they don't even talk much about the Sudan crisis either. That's pitiful. So how many fatwas, how many of the ulama body are sitting there talking about you sitting in Nigeria, or you Fulani, you sitting there in northern Nigeria and you being killed by your brothers, or how many fatwas are issued asking could you fight because this is what they're doing to you. See, we don't have that kind of guidance. But when there's a problem dealing with Arabs in particular, then they're Johnny on the spot, so to speak. They give authorizations and they talk and they give you guidance. But how about giving us guidance there in the United States? They don't. And this is my issue that I'm raising now, not to make slight of what's going on in Jazeera Arab, because that's an issue that it's a big issue, brothers and sisters, a big issue, because it's something is still got okay, there we go. Okay, brothers and sisters, there we go. So many imams talk, and this is one thing I heard. Many of the ulama do talk about black people making demonstrations inside the United States. They talk. And they talk about other things, especially against the enemy Tubab who does the things to us. Were they correct? I don't know. In some ways, yes, because I told you my personal opinion, I go by certain rulings I look at. And I'm very conservative about two things: offensive jihad and also demonstrations, that we have modern demonstrations. I'm very conservative on that, very conservative. And I'm not outside of the realm of the Sharia law and the Sunnah of the Prophet, alayhi salatu salam. I'm not. But even I don't take the streets. And there's demonstrations going all over the place about what's happening in Jazeera Arab, okay? And other places too, just going on and have demonstrations. I don't enter. I will do it only when I have a fatwa read off to me, telling me, authorizing me, or the ruler is given authorization for it. If it's a situation where the ruler is out of hand, is making kufr, I'm saying for instance, and we have ulama coming telling the Muslims now in a fatwa to hit the streets to demonstrate about the living conditions and so forth, this type of thing. If I don't have those things, I ain't hitting no streets. I've talked about this issue before in another class. So if I'm sitting there in the United States, I'm not hitting no streets, protesting for no one and no one unless I have those conditions. And when you live in the land of Kufar, you're really limited, because the local imam cannot issue a fatwa authorizing you to do something. See? So that's why it's again, I'm talking today, brothers and sisters, because I want that clarification for you to understand. I don't want any of us doing anything that will hurt us and our families and other Muslims, because this enemy, the kuffar, you see what they do. They love this collective punishment. They see me, I make a wrong move, I make an offensive jihad. They start to go after everybody in the town, because now they have the authorization to go after people because of my mistake. You see, this is what I'm talking about. So Islam doesn't require you to do the unthinkable to fulfill a jihad request. Again, brother, sister, you're sitting in Nigeria, you're sitting in Ghana, you're sitting in Mali or Niger, you're sitting in the Gambia, you're not required to fulfill this jihad request. You're not. Because I'm talking about in Jazeera Arab, you're not. You cannot. By the means, you cannot do it. And they don't want you there anyway. If you heard the leader of the Mujahideen group, I don't need to mention, everybody knows who's fighting there in Jazeera Arab. They don't want us there. Because in a way, we would be a burden to them, especially because most of us don't speak Arabic language. Secondly, we have been trained in this type of warfare. I mean, you see what's going on there. I mean, you'll be lost. You get into that arena there, okay? What you gonna do, huh? Excuse me. How are you gonna handle yourself with that type of training? You're gonna hear your commander talking in the Arabic language. How are you gonna understand? And maybe the group that you with, none of them speak English. You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. There's a lot of things to that. If you look at that picture of the brother on that marquee, he looked like he's an American. And if you look at that marquee for my show here today, he looked like he died. He was killed, as you heard me talk about here about 2 weeks ago, and he was a commander of one of the brigades. They were fighting against this enemy that's in Jazeera Arab today, but he was killed, and they showed his picture. And I've been trying to do research on him. I can't find nothing. I find that bizarre. I find that very bizarre. Do African Muslims, whether in Africa, Europe, or Americas, favor the saga of the Jazeera Arab over the Sahel? Yes, they do. If you listen to most African Americans today, or even Africans, they'll tell you about the issues there. And they have a ruling about that. But what about the Sahel? They can't come together. You got a Hausa Muslim and you got a Fulani Muslim. And they're warring against one another in the Sahel and killing one another. Or you have the brothers of the Fulani who are fighting against the Tiv. And the other Muslims, the Hausa brothers, are not assisting them against the Tiv and the Yoruba. You see, there's a lot of issues here. You got in Mali and Burkina Faso in particular, you have the Tuareg, the Arabs, and you have the Fulani. All three are Muslims. See, and then you have, of course, Niger. You got problems there. You got Hausa. You got the Fulani. You have the Tuareg, and you got the Arabs also. So there's a lot of issues there. And so why are you leaving? Why are you leaving Niger when you have all those problems to go to fight in the Jazeera Arab? Don't do it. You're not authorized to do it. And you have a jihad that's very, very strong in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Nigeria, all these places. You have a strong jihad. The jihad in Los Angeles, Dallas, Washington, D.C. is a strong jihad also, because you're fighting against something that, you're fighting the beast. You're right there with him. You see him face to face. The difference between us and our brothers here in Africa is that we deal with them peripherally. They're behind the closed doors, and they're having black and brown faces to do their bidding for them. There inside the United States, the Tubab don't have to hide. He's there in your face, discriminate against you. And the apparatus is clear. See? There are things that you can do. And brothers, I want to say this. I don't want to upset anybody, and I'm not trying to do that. But on the same token, I'm not going to sugarcoat something, because this is a Muslim concept. And we've been noted for this. You see what I'm saying here? There are things that a Muslim can do. You can make your dua. If you have money to give. If you want to help our brothers there, give. And if you do give, don't talk about it. If you want to give to Red Cross, you want to give to the Islamic Relief, I think it is, and there's Muslimi, there's a whole bunch of these. If you want to give, be quiet about it, because you lose the ajr. You lose that reward. Give your money, but don't talk about it. These are things that you can do to help your brothers there in Jazeera Arab. But one of the things, too, that nobody talks about I saw that when I was in Sudan in 2008, when there was a skirmish between the same groups that are fighting Jazeera Arab today, they're fighting then. And I remember the former president of Sudan gave an authorization for the brothers to go to Palestine. Okay, I'll say the name Palestine, to go and get women to bring them out of that misery. And the brothers went there and they gave the Palestinians instant citizenship there in Sudan. And many of the brothers married the girls there. And that's a mighty reward because you save a sister. Some of the brothers married some of the sisters there. They had 2 or 3 children and they took those children in as their own. Again, how universal are we, huh? You see how loving and universal we are? We're noted for that. Some of the brothers in Sudan took this wife. She's got 3 children, small children. She lost her husband and they lost their father. And to save that family, the brother went there and married the girl and brought her into safety into Sudan. Because brothers and sisters, if you look at this in Palestine, the ratio of woman to man is astronomical. I forgot what I read before. 50-1. I can't, the odds, because the man are dying there. I mean, the children are dying there. We understand that. Yes, they're dying there now. But we also know that we have a lot of our men are dying as well. And we have a lot of sisters there. I know some will say, hey, well, man, I rather, no, we should take care of our sisters there in the United States. The African Muslim there, African American, African Muslim, any way you want to call him, sitting in the United States, he has a small pool. That's why we in trouble there a lot, because we go marry Christian girls or atheist girls, and we shouldn't marry them, and we get in trouble. We don't have enough girls, Muslimas, to go marry. And so perhaps this may be an ideal thing if you contact, especially Islamic group, and you have the means to support, you go there and do something like that. There's nothing wrong with that, brothers. It's a great thing. Or you take a woman out of Sudan. See, so there's a lot of things that you can do to help and to save a sister from certain death, because we're supposed to protect our Muslim women. And when you go to take one Muslim woman out and bring her into safety, and then provide for her, and you love her, and she's your wife, you get a great reward for that, brothers and sisters. Okay, maybe for brothers, I'm talking about in this sense. For the brothers, you get a master, big reward for that. Okay, this will give you a great reward, and it's not easy to sit down and watch events in Muslim lands without having some anger and feeling helpless. But you should always follow the Quran and Sunnah. That's my best advice. Brothers and sisters, if there's something that you say, look, I want to do this, get advice on that. Go back to the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what you should do. That's what will save you. That's what will save you. We all have anger. Nobody likes what's going on there in Jazeera Arab. Nobody. No human being should be able to stomach what's going on over there, and the person and this enemy is getting away with it on top of that. See, so and we are left with again a trial and tribulation as a black person. What should we do? Well, you heard my guidance on that, and you should follow that guidance. You make your dua. You talk against it. You whatever means you have to do this, but don't run over there. That offensive jihad that you want to undertake is not authorized. It's not authorized. I've said this many times in this particular khutbah today. You're not authorized, brothers and sisters, to do this, okay? You don't have the authorization. Don't do it. So I've already closed here today, brothers and sisters. And, I talked about this because it's a major issue. And I wanted to get this cleared up and you spread this if you can. If you like this talk, please subscribe. And not only that, also give it to others, because people you hear talking, because I know I saw one picture already by one Arab news agency who took pictures of African Americans left United States to go to fight for the enemy against our brothers. See? And one I saw had a kufi. Oh, yes. And I'm not talking about the Jewish, I forgot what they call it. Oh, I forgot my Hebrew here. I can't, the small kufi. Boy, I forgot the name of it. But anyway, but he had the Muslim kufi, and I was shocked when I saw. And they had even 2 African-American females. And I know the Hebrew, black Hebrews, there's some have went over there. That's their business. We're not talking about them because they have different rules than that of the Muslims. But you as a Muslim, you can't do it. And I know it's frustrating. You see programs where Jews and others sympathize to the plight of what's going on there in Jazira Arab for the enemy, jumping on planes to go to assist that enemy against us. But we can't get on the same planes to get over there to help our brothers. We cannot do it. They call this terrorism and supporting of a terrorist group. See, it all depends on who is what, because we consider this enemy a terrorist organization who's killing, not the people there. Okay, we're talking about the government apparatus is what we consider terrorist. So this is a big issue, brothers and sisters. And so I gave this to get you educated and to bring you back into the fold so you don't do anything stupid. And many of us don't have the money anyway, and we don't have the luxury of having people to take us over there. Well, brothers have found a way to do it in the past. And all I can say to you is don't do it. I don't care how meaningful you want to do it. You want to fulfill this need. Don't do it at this time unless you have those requirements met. Okay, and whatnot. And if you don't have paperwork, brothers and sisters, that's your guide. If no Muslim ruler gave you authorization, you don't have a fatwa authorizing it, don't venture into doing it. And my advice for demonstrations also, you sitting in California or sitting anywhere, and you're a Muslim, I prefer to have a legal body, I'm talking about our ulama, give us a fatwa telling us that we have authorization to do it. If I don't have that paper in my hand, I ain't doing anything. You heard me say, I will not do it. Because we're not authorized. So I want to thank those who showed up today and those in the future. Thank you, my dear brother, Quad and Eagle, Mindset Fitness, and others who will show up in the future. I appreciate that. And I filled any comments, and I'm about ready to close here today. And I wanted to talk. I'll be getting back into doing more talks, but I had to say this today about the African Muslim and his trials and tribulation, because nobody cares about us. Nobody issues us fatwas. Nobody gives us guidance to help us with our troubles. And we have major problems and troubles that nobody in the continent and outside the continent. And nobody seems to address that except us by ourselves. See, so that's why I'm talking about that. And again, you hear me talk about the United States. I consider, again, the Arab and the Pakistani, these three in particular, as black folk. See, because I know their heritage, and I know Pakistan has a sizable black population. Many of you don't know that. That's right. And many of them there are half black. And you know the rule that's in the United States. If your daddy is black, then you're black. Huh? You know that ruling. And all you got to do too is you should understand is you see the Pakistani married to an African American, look at their children. Now you tell me if they don't have black heritage and African heritage. You look at the children of Pakistanis and African Americans. Hmm? Do they look like the mulattoes that you see when a black man marries a French woman or a Swedish girl or a British girl or Irish girl? No, totally different. That child looks totally different. Skin is brown, dark brown. Look at their hair. Some of their hair may be frizzy, but it's very thick. Look at the brothers. Their hair's curly with the features. That's right. See, so now you understand my rationale why I said that. Don't let anybody, brothers and sisters, fool you about this racial classification. Yes, I know there's discrimination. We understand that. I lived in California. I saw the discrimination that happened when our Pakistani brothers and our Arab brothers had discrimination against African Americans. I understand that. But you fight that for what it is. But I'm giving you some lessons about things about race, and that's important. See, so anyway, brothers and sisters, I'll finish here now, and thanks again for those who support me. I will not ask for any money from anybody. All I ask for you to do is listen and ponder my words and spread my talks, and that's my reward. That my thanks, and I don't want any money. I don't need that, and you save that for your families and for other endeavors. But all I want is that you listen to what I have to say and go on that guidance and spread it. And this is what I want to say. Thank you, my dear brother, African royalty. I appreciate all of you. And like I said, we are a fraternity and whatnot. And I'm concerned about the black man in general, about our shortcomings, but why no one seems to care about what happens with us, only other black folk. That's what is very upsetting to me. And that's why I talk today. And I want to make sure that we understand that, yes, we are there and we're visible. And I don't want to see any of us make any mistakes, because since we have rulers, we have leaders of some of the Mujahideen groups and making pan-Arab talks, that should tell you exactly what they feel about you as an African Muslim. Okay? So I'll leave you with that. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.